Previously on The Blood That Binds, the DNA result came back 0.00%. And instead of going to his wife, Emeka called his brother. Now, let us talk about Chukwudi. Emeka's brother was not a bad man. He was simply the wrong man to tell a secret to. Chukwudi loved fiercely, he protected fiercely, and he destroyed fiercely. All three of those things at exactly the same time. Within 48 hours of that phone call, Emeka's mother knew. Within 72 hours, 2 aunties knew, 3 cousins knew. Within a week, Adaze's own sister was calling her asking, "Ada, what is happening? People are saying things." Adaeze did not know what she was being accused of. She did not know there was a letter. She did not know about the DNA test. She did not know that her husband had stood over their sleeping son in the dark with a swab kit. She did not know that her marriage was already on trial, and she had not even been told she was a defendant. The family meeting was called on a Saturday, Emeka's mother's house. Adaeze was told it was a family lunch. It was not a family lunch. She walked in wearing a yellow dress. She had even brought food, jollof rice, fried plantain, enough for everyone. She set it on the kitchen counter, walked into the living room, and the room went silent. Not the comfortable silence of family. The other kind. They were all there. Emeka's mother, his aunties, Chukwudi and his wife, cousins she had cooked for at Christmas, people who had danced at her wedding, and in the center of the table, a printed piece of paper, face down. Emeka stood up. He could not look at her directly. He slid the paper across the table, face up, and said 4 words. "Is he my son?" Adaeze looked at the paper. She read it. She read it again, and then she laughed. Not because it was funny, not because she was unbothered, but because the absurdity of it, the humiliation of it, the fact that she was sitting in a room full of people who had already decided, already convicted, already sentenced her, before she had opened her mouth, broke something inside her that could only come out as a laugh. She looked at her husband, then she looked at the room, and she said 3 words, quiet, steady, final. "Get out," Emeka said. "This is my mother's house." Adaeze stood up, picked up her handbag, and said the last thing anyone in that room expected. "Then I will leave." She saved her tears for the car park. She sat in her car for 40 minutes, alone. No phone calls, no explanations, just a woman, sitting in the wreckage of a life that had been demolished without her permission. And while she sat in that car park, Chukwudi's wife had already told a friend. The friend had told someone else. And by the time Adaeze got home, her name was already on the internet. Not her side of the story, just her name and the verdict. People who had never met her were calling her names. Her catering business page was flooded with comments. Old photos of her were dug up and dissected. Someone found a photo of her at a conference in Abuja, smiling beside a group of colleagues, and posted it as evidence. Her clients started canceling orders. Her daughters came home from school crying because children had said things. And Tobena, 8-year-old Tobena, heard a classmate say, "Your father said you are not his real son." The boy stopped eating properly. He started wetting the bed again, like he was 4 years old, every night. Adaeze held him and told him, "You are loved, you are wanted, nothing will ever change that." She said it every night, even on the nights she barely believed anything herself. The world had made its judgment without evidence, without her voice, without waiting for the truth. But Adaeze was not done, because she knew something that nobody in that room had thought to ask, something buried in a hospital file from 2014. And in part 4, she was going to use it. Part 4 is coming, and this time, the truth fights back.